How are you? Hey, those of if you're stopping by, I want to ask you this question. Did you ever, I don't know, when you go online and you do some research about the government, have you ever heard about totalitarian party? Well, I'm going to talk about this party. I've been sharing about this for 10 years. For 10 years, I've been sharing about the totalitarian party. And I try to I tell folks that, this is a one-party system. There are some people that talk about that this is a one-party system. There are some people that talk about that, yeah, it's two birds in the same bird and two wings of the same bird. And I'm like, but generally, a lot of people will say that, are saying that because they are Trump supporters, right? Well, I'm going to talk about in this live that totalitarian party, this is what they've written in their own statute, okay? Totalitarian party, it may not, obviously, this party is not in the ballot box, okay? And it's like, 'cause I guess when I tell folks about this particular party, I think people don't quite understand, from my experience engaging about this party, okay? Totalitarian party, you see, this system is, or how it operates is through, the nature of the system is totalitarianism. This is by their action. They take total control of everything through entry points, through surveillance. The system surveil people. You got the CIA, NSA, you got a lot of these agencies. The system takes control. It dictates the economy, the system. It does. The system dictates of how, if you're able to have a business, the system dictates of how you take care of your family. A lot of things that this system, what it does, is based on control. And I wanted to talk about that. I wanted to let everybody know that the government, the so-called government that we have, is not lawful. All right? This government is not lawful in any shape or way, okay? And now I'll give you the statute of totalitarian party, and I'll put it down in the description below. It's Title 18, 11, 01, 37, okay? A and B, okay? Now, when you look up totalitarian party, okay, you're going to, some people challenge me about this over the years, about how when they look up Title 18, 1101, they say it's part of immigration law. Now, here's the thing, and I'm going to explain about immigration law, okay? If you read the statute, okay, of itself, if you just read Title 18, 1101, 37, from my understanding, is a subchapter. If you read that, nothing in totalitarian party, nothing pertains about immigration law. Nothing. See, these criminals, all right, these imposters in office, they put that statute, totalitarian party, to, just to throw, or make sure, kind of like tuck it in. Make sure people just maybe, generally, people won't make the connection, or probably people might overlook it. But yeah, I first heard about totalitarian party by reading this material, okay, when I first learned about the 14th Amendment and the Reconstruction Act and all that. But yeah, totalitarian party is definitely, this is by their own admission, this is the action of the system, okay? All right? And this is the thing, folks. I'm going to definitely do another live talk about more things about the system. But the totalitarian party, it doesn't matter who you vote, okay? The system still remains the same. The only real difference is that you have a puppet dictator in office and they'll create more rules and regulations to control you. That's really the difference. I understand that the political circus, it seems so convincing and it gets people distracted, and admit it, you're distracted and you are frustrated, right? And so a lot of people, they'll just, everybody's divided. But you see, for the past decade, I've been telling folks that we have a common enemy, okay? And I tell that, and it's what it is. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I don't sugarcoat the truth, I don't, because, you see, the thing is that when you wanna tell people about anything, it's best, my rule of thumb is to tell folks straight up, upfront about what's going on. Why the system is very oppressive against us. So, it's best to tell people up front instead of telling people half truth, sugarcoating it, telling things what people want to hear. I never want to tell folks what they want to hear. Yeah, I'm taking a nice walk. It's nice. I try to be out before the sun gets out, before the sun goes down, because I'm trying to pick different locations to record. Hey, what's going on? I'm trying to read a username. Dog to God 1234. Hey, what's going on? Hey, what's going on? Covey M4. What's going on? Thanks for joining me in this Sunday evening. Pick a nice spot this time compared to my last live. The last live I had kind of like a last minute, kind of pick something. Gotta pick something, kind of make up the, do your best what you have. So a location. Yeah, this is very nice over here. They just redeveloped this whole location by the river here. So to go back what I'm saying, So totalitarian party, the system definitely dictates our lives from the ground up, okay? And this, the totalitarian party, this statue was created in the 1950s, if you research the statue more. But this system of itself was created through with the help of the Reconstruction Act and the infamous 14th Amendment. None of the system, no matter what part of the system, none of it is lawful. None of it. Not the constitutional federal and not the constitutional state government. Okay. I've been saying the same thing for the past 10 years. And you know what? And I'm like, I'll just I have no problem repeating the same thing and telling folks, you gotta keep telling the truth, no matter what. People, whether people want to believe it or they don't want to hear it and stuff like that. You gotta just tell folks, this information because it's important. This is about our future, Let me just give you an example, okay? Because I know it's kind of hard to believe what I'm saying is true. Let me just say this: the system dictates. Let's say they tell you how to take care of your family, right? Why would a system tell you how to take care of your family? Okay? Why? What business is the government, this so-called government, to tell you how to take care of your family? Okay? This family break up the unit, family unit. It breaks up. That's another little bit long story. I don't want to go too far off, but the fact that the system intervenes in your personal life, okay, that in society, really we've been caught up working alongside the system's narrative about far as how parents take care of their kids. It's not my business how someone take care of their kids. Do I like some of the stuff that what goes on at the household? No, I don't. But it's not my business, really. You know, the system doesn't really allow a self-governing people, and I'm talking about people being responsible of their own lives. You know, and again, this is contrast to a totalitarian system. It's about total control. They want to control. I want to touch on the family. They want to control how you raise your family. They want to control how you take care of your body. Why is that the government is so invested how or what you do with your body? Okay, let me say this. Do I agree what people do with their body? I mean, really, what is my business? Now, I know you got this whole government narrative about the LGBTQ, whatever. I know it's all government propaganda. Do I agree some of the things that people do? No, I don't agree. But why do I have to use this system to tell people how to be? Look, I don't give a damn if you want to decide to be a woman or a man. I don't care. I really don't. As long as you don't impede my rights and liberty, I don't care. Now, look, I know this might go up a little off, but this has a lot to do with the totalitarian party because it's about total control of how people be. It's about how they dictate what we live and what we say, okay? All right? And it doesn't allow people to be responsible of their own lives. Now, I know we talk about, let's say, I'm going to use some example here, okay? Some of you, a lot of people are outraged about taking their kids to school, right? And you got teachers talking about some things that's very inappropriate, right? Well, here's the thing. When you take your kids to a federal school, your kids are going to be brainwashed. I mean, when I was going to school, I was being brainwashed. You know, I was brainwashed. I mean, now the system is they're pushing the envelope now. They're doing things a little bit more differently, how to brainwash our kids and everything. But parents are outraged because the teacher is a drag queen. Okay. Now, do I agree with it? No, I don't agree with that. But the thing is, why do you take your kids to school in the first place? To get brainwashed. It doesn't matter if it's LGBTQ. It doesn't matter if it could be something else. It could be the system decide to come up with another particular narrative that they want to come in and spoon feed our kids. It could be, I mean, we've been brainwashed about a fake country, the United States, most of our lives. I posted a meme one time about how there's two progressive government programs. One is the that federal flag, okay, that we all been believing that is our country. It's not. It's a federal flag. The United States is not a country. Okay, we've been brainwashed. And then the other government progressive programming is that about the pride flag, the rainbow flag. So we don't know which sex we were confused about what sex we are or whatever it is. But these are the things that I touch upon. And when I tell folks that, they don't like it. On both sides are silent. You know why they're silent? Because I don't play favorites. I don't play sides. I target every single government narrative out there as much as I can. I'm not saying I know everything, but so I'm just giving you some example about that the system they control or what they teach our kids, okay? Or what else? They dictate, you know, whether you should have a business license or not. Why the government is so concerned about you or what type of business you have, right? You're trying to make an honest living, right? Why does I have to get a license to have a business, right? License and permits. Why? But see, we've been conditioned to think that, well, it's normal. It's normal to have all that. It's normal for the government to regulate and give us license and permits. No, it's not. We really lost our generation, all right? Our generation, today's generation, and all the decades, we lost the fundamental freedoms that our forefathers enjoyed. We don't really know what free market is. A lot of conservatives talk about this is a free market. This is not a free market. I don't think they know what free market is. And maybe I'll do another live on just that alone. But let me just say this. This system regulates whether you should have a business or not. And if you go against the system about that, they're gonna raid your business. They'll shut you down. They will shut you down. What else? I mean, I could just go on and on. Why do they have these agencies surveil us, right? Why? Why do you have Homeland Security, another unlawfully created agency, the CIA, another one, NSA? You got all these other agencies. Why are they watching us? Right? Was that ask yourself this question, folks? To start, I really want you to start to really think about what I'm going to say. Before 1860, if you could somehow go back, just think about if whatever you know in your history, okay? Did the government ever spy on its people? Do you know any course of our time that the government constantly spying on people? Way before the CIA. I'm talking about way before the CIA was created, NSA and all that, okay? All right? Because I have not ever recalled that the government spy on people. I haven't. So you have to ask yourself this question: why are we being under surveillance? Why is that? Oh man, I can go on and on. I mean, the government control, the system controls the economy. It dictates the economy. We had this government shutdown. I learned something a little bit more. I was having a conversation with some people, and about the government shutdown, about the flight attendants. The flight attendants they're not getting paid for a month. The U.S. military, okay, all right, they're not getting paid. Who else? They're not getting paid. Yeah, there's a lot going on. So I did some research about this government shutdown. Now everybody's blaming Congress as far as the Democrat side, whatever, I don't care. But this whole thing with the government shutdown never happened before 1860. The first government shutdown happened around 1870. I'm sorry I didn't bring. I kind of looking into this early on, matter of fact, and I'm sorry I don't have the full information. I was just doing some research about it, but let me just put together. I'll put together something, and I'll discuss more about this government shutdown. But far as the government shutdown, the so-called Congress, if you look within the Totalitarian Party, that says there's a part inside the statute that says not representative in fact. Not representative in fact, that part is referring to the representatives, state and federal. When it says not representative in fact, there's a definition in Black's Law Dictionary about in fact, and was it Black Law Dictionary 6th edition deluxe. In my own words, it's basically saying that it's real. It's basically based in law, in my own words. But the fact that it says not representative in fact, what they're saying is that the representatives are not real. They're not legit. Congress, the so-called Congress, we don't have Congress. You have people that pose themselves as Congress, and they're not. I just want to, and I tell that to folks. I've been sharing that to X a lot, and I'm like, yeah, I even tag a lot of people under the so-called Congress. I say, look, they're not representative in fact. They are literally telling you they're not the real thing. They're not. So, yeah, the failures of the so-called Congress is a result of that these people are not what they say they are. All right, folks? All right? This is all under the Totalitarian Party. This is a one-party system. Okay? I don't care if you're a Trump supporter or Biden. It doesn't really matter. This is a one-party system. And Totalitarian Party, it may not be in a ballot, okay? But what it is, again, like I said in the beginning of this live, the Totalitarian Party, okay, It's basically saying it is the action of the system. This is nothing to do about, hey, they have a big T-shirt saying that we're a totalitarian party. No, 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 no. It is the action of this system. You going out and you look at the ballot and you look at all these fake political parties. The political parties is making you believe that you have a choice and that if you favor one camp, okay, then your life's gonna be better. But you gotta be honest with yourself, folks. Your life has not gotten better, no matter what platform you support. Okay, I don't know. I really try to understand a lot of Trump supporters about how they feel they're more freer than Trump in the office. What I last checked is that as long as you're a U.S. citizen, and if you're still basically abiding by or you're compliant with the same rules and regulation that this system set forth, then everybody, okay, you are under control. Okay, we are under control, the same as the people. Then that you, you got conservative against liberals. That they talk about, they got blue hair and they're drag queens. It doesn't matter what platform you support. You're all under the same control by the totalitarian system. All of you. Okay? And I just want to say, because I know we get all caught up about which camp is better, or I'm more freer than these people, and we need to keep voting for so and so. I'm like, look, only thing what you're doing is that you're maintaining the same system. I know it's getting a little dark here. I'm gonna probably close out soon. I try to do it when it's sunny. I just wasn't able to do it early, but I just needed to do this video. Just needed to talk to folks here because I don't know, man. It's just, this is very important because when I see what's going on and I see how a lot of us is basically suffering all that, it's like, man, we really need to, we really need to a lot of us, we need to educate ourselves. We really need to educate ourselves and we really, it's very important to not really get caught into the political circus because it's not going to help us in regards to the what's going on. Like if he's too caught up with Trump, what he's doing, or he's too caught up with the so and so said in office and all the distraction. Let me tell you something right now, folks. This system is going to continuously oppress us. And I'm doing this live for you for you to be informed what we're dealing with and how you could really talk to other people about, hey, look, this is what I heard in this live. This person was talking about the system is totalitarianism, and you have to really examine about how the system controls you, and yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just waving out a friend of mine here. So yeah, you just have to really take it in, folks. Pass this live when it starts recording. I'm going to put some information below. Like and subscribe if you're new to my channel. I do my best to come up and discuss some real issues because, I know some people ask. Very rarely anyone asks me, what could we do about it? I don't know why. I try to figure out because if I was in your shoes listening to this live video, I would probably ask, well, what can we do about it? And how come we weren't told about this? These are the kind of questions that you should be asking. Anybody should be asking. It's like, just reading here. Sorry, I'm just catching up on a comment here. How old I am? I'm actually almost 50. Yeah. But yeah, I'm reading here. So yeah. So yeah, so some people don't take the stuff that I'm sharing seriously, because people haven't gone through enough pain in their lives by the system until maybe somebody will, let's say, I try to tell the seriousness about what's going on. But until, let's say, you have a Gestapo beat you with a nightstick or tase you, okay? I think people will start to realize about how oppressive the system is. But a lot of people that think it's all nonsense and life is good and all that, they haven't gone through pain yet. They haven't. But it's unfortunately, many people will have to go through pain until they wake up, especially by the Gestapos. And if you don't understand what I mean by Gestapos, I'm talking about the thugs in uniforms, okay? They are lawbreakers. They are part of this system. The system does enforce a police state. I even discovered a definition on Black's Law Dictionary on the 7th edition that in regards to a definition of police state. Okay, I found that. I'm like, wow. I try to put that down in a description or something like that, or maybe I'll just put them on the Facebook page. But yeah, I think a lot of people need to go through a lot of pain by the system to recognize. I think that's what's needed. I mean, personally, because look, until people have the urgency and get off their behind and start to be open to learn something and willing to, well, first thing is to educate yourself, okay? That's the first thing. Then pass it on to other people. Then have a gathering, and then take the steps in regards to taking action against the system. Now, I had people ask me about what could be done. I said, well, what we could do is that we have to restore a republic at one state at a time. In Texas, for example, we don't have a Republican form of government. And don't confuse that with a Republican Party, okay? We need people to become free man and a freeholder to vote through a de jure representative. Now, that process is a very long process because it's going to take time for that to happen. But if more people get together and realize about what we're dealing with, that's going to be huge. That's going to be very huge because a lot of people walking around feeling frustrated about Trump, about whoever's in office. A lot of people are too distracted, and I think people really need to know what we're dealing with. But anyway, I appreciate you guys. I really appreciate you stopping by and listening. I really do. I really try to come out as much information I can, but I don't want to do a brain dump. I'm just literally talking about the Totalitarian Party and what we're dealing with, how it functions. I mean, I can give you more examples. But anyway, I don't make this live longer. It's a little windy out. It's like 52 degrees outside. Anyway, but yeah, thanks, folks. I really appreciate you stopping by. I'm just gonna look at the comments here before I close out here. Yeah. All right. All right, folks. So, hey, thank you all again for stopping by. Until then, I will be back with another interesting topic. Take care.